for the most part of our careers, we aimed for like super high quality. We were filming in 4K and we were like getting steady cams and trying to make it really high production. But then a few times, like when we do a much lower production, those would do even better than the high production videos.
Oh, so interesting.
And it just like made no sense to us. You know, we come from watching television and stuff. So it's like, if we can make better production, it'll get more views. It was quite the opposite. So crap was kind of like, well, we need to...
I still have a hard time with this. Yeah. In this episode, we talk with Chad Wildclay and his wife, V. Qwaint. They started their YouTube journey after posting their proposal video on YouTube, and it went mega viral. Since then, they positioned themselves across the YouTube platform, reaching over 3 billion views on multiple channels.
This is Creative Disruption, the intersection where entertainment, data, and creativity meet. Here's your hosts, Ricky Ray Butler and Derral.
Welcome back to the Creative Disruption podcast, where we talk with individuals that are disrupting the industry. And I'm here with my friend,
Cohort.
RR Butler. How are you doing, Ricky?
I'm doing well. You can call me Ricky Ray Butler.
Oh, is it Ricky Ray? The full name. You got to use the full name every time.
We're not at the point where you can use my initials.
We're not at that point.
No, but we will eventually get there.
Do you know RR, like RR Martin, Game of Thrones? That's probably, you should probably adopt that, though.
I think RR should say his entire name.
Is that what it is? It actually stands for Richard Ray,
Does it really?
No.
Oh, interesting.
All right, so today's guest we have on, I'm really excited about. I've known him for quite some time. And one thing that I love about YouTube is seeing people that just grind and just make things happen on YouTube. And they push through because they're willing to work harder and work longer than anyone else. And, a lot of people think, oh, it's all about fame and I only have to work 2 hours a day and I just record myself. But it's much more than that. And I got a question, because we've known each other for quite some time and you've been on a lot of different panels, on different conferences and so on. And there are creators right now thinking that the market is oversaturated. Like it's like there's no growth. Have you ever heard that before?
I've heard that every year I've been in business. For the last decade, someone always says that. People are always saying, it's oversaturated. I've heard that from both creators as well as from brands. Yeah. And the truth is, the community is way bigger than we all realize, and it's getting bigger every month and every year. It's just growing at a phenomenal rate. And so, yes, there's actually one panel I was in. It's actually a playlist. It was with one of the top vloggers at the time. I'd say this is probably
the OG.
It was one of the OG creators, influencers, and we were on a panel. And one thing he mentioned, people asked, "How can I get as big as you?" And he basically said to the audience, "It's too late. There's just too many of us, and it's too hard to do it today." And I actually, publicly told him that was completely false, because that was when the Vine invasion was taking place. Right. And the Vine creators were just barely hopping over to YouTube. And I think that's just something that's just going to continue to happen. There's always going to be new platforms. There's always going to be new forms of content. And people are wanting to watch that content as quickly as possible. And they want a variety of content. And so I think we're seeing just the tip of the iceberg of what's happening with content.
100%. And I think, too, it's just like I was just listening to a YouTube video as I was driving. It was a little bit longer one. I wasn't watching it as I was driving, because you don't do those things, right?
Never.
But it was about Tesla, and they were really just kind of dissing them because, they're not being as profitable as they should. But you know what? They are revolutionizing the industry. And the thing that I like in this too, it's either you adapt or you die. And where Tesla was pushing the envelope, and now new creators that are coming on are really changing the environment and are able to grow faster than ever before. And why? Is because they understand the ecosystem, they understand the platform, and they understand the things that it takes. Now, the only difference would be, is that the quality going to go up? Is it going to, you're going to be able to engage that audience? And so that's kind of where I do agree with you 100%. It's like you either adapt to the new way of doing things, or you're going to just die on the vine.
100%. No. On the Vine. No, I mean, there's been, I think today, there's a lack of people that are way too stubborn, because I think early on we had all these large creators, a lot of these large influencers that are just stubborn, saying, I'm going to do it my way. Yeah. And when the platform changed, they blamed YouTube. or they blamed Facebook, or they're blaming all these different platforms and the algorithm, when really they need to adjust because their opinion isn't going to change the direction.
I can guarantee you, just the nature of my business, that they didn't ever look into their analytics with an eye as like, okay, what is really going on? Instead of saying, oh, my content's so amazing, everybody loves it, I've been doing it for years, why do I need to change something that's not broke? And before you know it, their views start to decline and the engagement starts to decline, and they're like, oh, what do I do? Because like I'm going to have to get rid of my staff now, or even get a job because I can't make the type of money I was making before.
And sometimes I've seen in multiple occasions where the audience has grown out of the content, where they've been just doing the exact same thing for like 5 years straight, and their audience is possibly just moving on and finding other things to watch. And this is the thing that we have to remember with television. There's a lot of series that did have their peaks, and then that ended up losing like relevance. And I hate saying losing relevance, but this is something that's always happened in entertainment. It's always happened in media, and we're now seeing it, more decentralized, in a more decentralized way happening, and it's really based off of if people can evolve, if they can pivot, and continue, to get the attention of their viewers.
Yeah, absolutely. So today's guest that you're about to introduce,
yes.
They have pivoted. They've analyzed their data and they pivoted probably more than
multiple times,
more creators than I've ever seen. And so do you want to do an intro for us?
Absolutely. Yeah. So today we're very lucky to have Qwaint and Chad Wildclay. And, both V and Chad, they've been in the industry for a good 9 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
10 years.
2010.
Grinding out.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. So Derral, I remember, both V and Chad during the really early stages when they had really small audiences. Mm-hmm. And you guys have just really have been dedicated and have always worked hard. And in the last 2 years, after 8 years of work, because a lot of people think you just need to create a video and you get millions of views and make millions of dollars. Oh, that's such an easy job. Well, after 8 years of work of probably not making a lot of money, you guys have exploded. You found your edge, and everything probably seems to be, just going in your favor right now.
It is, definitely. And in fact, that panel you were talking about a minute ago, we were there.
Yeah.
Oh, so you remember that conversation?
I remember that, so I know who you're talking about. And it's a good thing we didn't listen, because now we've, if we would have listened, we would have quit, right? So, yeah.
Well, there's going to be more people tuning in. Obviously, I would say YouTube and Instagram, those are both mainstream. But I think there's even going to be more people that adopt this form of content, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger, and there's going to be a lot of things happening. And if we look at it from a perspective of globalization, all content today, both in Hollywood as well as with creators, is all global.
Did you just say Hollywood? I swear that's what you said.
No, I said Hollywood.
He really respects them.
Hollywood. Come on, Derral, get your priorities straight. You should call it Hollywood.
There's a reason why I live in Utah, man.
Hey, so I just hope for the rest of this interview you don't make fun of my speech impediment. Anyways, let's move on. So Chad, V, how did you get started?
I feel like this is a story for you.
Oh, for me? Okay.
Because it started.
Sure, yeah. The first video I ever made was when I was going to propose to her. I made a music video.
Propose for marriage.
A proposal for marriage.
Not like a business.
I would love to work together. Here's my
music video.
My heartfelt music video. Let's do business together. But no, so it was a music video that I made, and I had it play at the movie theater where we had our first date years before. And I ended up putting it on YouTube just so both of our parents could see it. Sat there for about a month. Then after about a month, it suddenly got picked up, got 1 million views really fast. A bunch of news agencies covered it. It was on the front page of Yahoo for a couple days. Front page of
MSNBC.
Yep, MSN.com. It was on all these places. So it was like, wow, this YouTube thing's kind of cool. It was kind of fun, getting all that attention. And then we kind of looked into YouTube more. We didn't really know much about it. We didn't even know you could make money on YouTube.
Yeah, I didn't even have an account on YouTube. So we just used Chad's account where he posted the video. And yeah, and continue with your story.
Yeah, so we were like, we should probably try to make more YouTube videos. So this is really fun, and you can make some money at it. But it was more so the fun factor, and I always wanted to be a musician growing up. So like, here's my creative outlet to do some music stuff. So we started doing music parodies together. Huge Weird Al Yankovic fan my whole life, so big inspiration there. So we started making parodies, and just kind of went from there. So that's how we started on YouTube back in 2010.
Yeah, I was actually forced into it.
Yes,
It's like, okay, we're going to get married, but you actually have to do YouTube.
Yep.
No, so he needed like a female singer, and I cannot sing at all. But he was like, no, I'm really good at autotune. So,
I'm the master at autotune.
Yeah.
And like he's the musician, and so I was like, V, maybe you should like learn how to use a camera or like learn how to edit. So I kind of took on the role of like anything visual, like editing photos, like Photoshop. So I took on all that, and then Chad was like the audio guy,
And the
lyrics.
Yeah.
He
And
wrote all the lyrics.
This is like in Minnesota, where it's
Yes.
really cold.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't film all year round
Yeah.
outside there, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, you could, but you'd be an icicle.
Yes, true. Very true.
So that's kind of how I found you, was through your parody, and it was like
Yeah.
really hilarious. I'm like, hey, this is the Weird Al of YouTube.
Thank you.
And then I started to see all because you're active on Twitter, and all the people that would actually claim copyright.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then I just noticed, I'm like, man, this guy gets copyrighted like every single video.
Every video. It's crazy.
And you actually fought, what was that, over 100 different...
150, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And won them all, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's almost like a process of uploading. You upload, got claim, you got to file for a copyright claim.
Yep. And even like the same video that you've already won the copyright dispute with, they'll just claim it again 6 months later. It's crazy.
Oh,
So,
that's gotta be so annoying.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
very annoying. So, but yeah, that's how I think we ran into each other, probably right around there. I was watching Derral's videos on learning how to do YouTube, because we both just studied YouTube like hardcore. We're very analytical. We're kind of data driven. We love creating spreadsheets. So I loved watching your videos, Derral, teaching about the YouTube algorithm.
Well,
and all
thank
that.
you.
Derral has a lot of fans, which really surprised me. My first time meeting Derral, I was just thinking, this guy's a chump. I'm just joking.
I can't believe you'd say that, Ricky. Come on now. You've known me long enough. Come on, our Butler. All right, so let's switch gears here, because we've been talking about
Combine chat and play.
We should definitely talk about V.
Yes, very much so.
V shared with me in the past her story, and it's very powerful.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm originally from Vietnam, so I was born there. I lived there until I was 8 years old, finished third grade there and everything with my parents. Grew up extremely poor. I didn't have, we didn't sleep on a mattress, just like on a hardwood baseboard. I didn't have like a fridge at our house, no microwaves, no hot water, just very poor. My mom cooked on like a stove with wood that she has to lit up with like fire, kind of like what you do when you go camping, but this is what we do on a daily basis. And like when I take a bath or a shower, she have to like boil a pot of hot water, just to warm the water up, because we didn't have any hot water. It really, just kind of growing up like that, but I remember never feeling poor. It's just like we were happy. I always had I always had food. So it wasn't like we were starving. So my parents took care of us very well. I always had clean clothes, but really taught me about hardworking. My parents are extremely hardworking, and I see that all the time. And so I just know that they will do anything to give us the best. And when we came over to America when I was 8, they worked, minimum wage jobs, just doing anything just to support us. And so I they were in their late 40s, so it was really hard. And they didn't speak English. None of us spoke English, so I had to learn English from the start. All of us had to.
That's amazing.
So, so they didn't have very good jobs, but they supported us. They don't have any debt. Their house is paid for. Being very responsible with their money, and just I just know that whatever I do, I have to. If I go through a tough time, I think of my parents. Can they get out of the situation? Yeah, they can. So I should be able to do it too, because I've gotten to live in America growing up here. So much more privileged than what I would have been in Vietnam. So it's just kind of.
You know, and I think that perspective, I wish more creators actually had. You know, they take a lot for granted, and for the things that come, and they just expect everything to go their way, and things change. Like things modify, and there's a lot of things that are out of your control. But what's not out of your control is your attitude and your willingness to work. And that's what I just respect about both of you, is you've been able to do that, you know, as long as I've known you. So.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
So you've been able to go back to Vietnam. I mean, did you have a different perspective going back there than, you know?
Well, I came back there with Chad because I wanted to show him like where I grew up and everything. So it was different. Everything looked smaller. Like, and it's weird because like we visited.
Well, when you go from a bigger house, it is of course it's smaller.
Yeah,
Literally smaller. We like the restaurants that I had to sit at and eat at. The furniture is like this tall.
It's like a little stool.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah.
So I'm 6'4", and everyone sits on these little like children's furniture when they go to these restaurants. These outdoor. So I just look. My knees are up to my chest, pretty much. You know, it's so literally smaller.
We visited the house. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was like, you know, like 20 feet wide probably. So then I was just like, I remember this being so much bigger and just more spacious. Right. But like now it's like, wow, it's really perspective, you know. But like, and definitely I was like, man, I've gotten used to this flushing toilet. I kind of forgot because we didn't have like a flushing toilet at our house either. So it was just like, man, it really brought back memories and just kind of like, wow. And also like we've gone so like I feel like I moved up in class or whatever. Like I've done so much in like such a short a period of time that I've been alive.
That's amazing.
From so.
I mean, that's just a beautiful experience. And I think it's one of those things where, you know, you had awesome parents that just, you know, give it their all. They worked really hard, give you an awesome example.
Yeah.
But then, you know, I think going through experiences like that and, you know, as you have, you know, trials ahead of you, it really just helps sustain, you know, those efforts to make sure you can become successful and get over hurdles or those mountains. And it's one of those things going back to like the very beginning conversation, you know, whenever I kind of show, you know, case studies or stories behind different creators to, let's say, brands, a lot of different people say, whoa, well, I chose the wrong career. And it's really like, well, are you willing to work 15 hours a day?
Yes.
Every day for years?
Yes.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to, because some of the hardest workers I know are creators. And this is the thing, it's even going to get harder because a lot of TV companies that, you know, have the resources to scale and to have the support, you know, they're going to get more and more into the space, and it's going to be harder for the native creator to continue to grow. But those that are hard and are very hardworking and are very data driven are going to be triumphant.
Yes.
But I've noticed kind of a pattern that there are a lot of creators that have, you know, more humble backgrounds that has empowered them to be even better and stronger and more successful.
Yeah, totally agree with all of that. Yeah, there's always room to break through, no matter what anyone says. Back to that original, that conversation, you know, that a lot of people even now will say like, yeah, it's too hard now, but no, there's always a way. You can figure out a way to break through. And it took us 7 years. You know, we got it though. We got it.
Let's talk about your breakthrough then. Like, I remember you were coming to Vid Summit and you just had kind of a breakout.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. So at the time we had been doing parodies for many years, and, you know, a lot of them got 1 million views, did very well. Never really had a huge breakout though that like gave us a huge amount of subscribers or anything like that. Just kind of, you know, always kind of a early entry level YouTuber, we kind of consider ourselves. But then we did a parody for Pineapple Pen. And it just took off and just went crazy. I think it's currently at 85 million views. And then we quickly did a follow-up a week later. That one's sitting at 65 million views.
Yeah.
And then a follow-up to a follow-up, and then a follow-up to a follow-up.
Pretty much.
I remember the week that happened, and I was like, well, where did this come from?
Yeah. It was really, that was a crazy couple of weeks. So yeah, it kind of finally blew up. But even then, I think this might be a good lesson for any creators. Like, a viral video like that isn't necessarily the greatest thing, and doesn't build you the most loyal audience. So I think from that experience, we learned, it blew us up. We got a lot of subscribers from it, but they weren't hardcore dedicated subscribers there for our personalities or there for our content necessarily. So whenever we did a follow-up Pen and Apple Pen video, got a lot of views, but whenever we tried something a little different, didn't perform as well. Right. So there's definitely a huge difference between building an audience off of viral videos or building an audience off of just like a consistent theme or a consistent topic and personality based.
You get more loyalty.
More loyalty, more returning, stable viewership for sure.
Viral videos are so 2008.
Yeah,
aren't they?
true. And definitely.
It's the same thing with the brands. When sometimes when a brand gets a viral video, it's not necessarily a good thing. Let's say if it's on like Facebook or like early days of YouTube, it just means there's a lot of casual viewers that are appreciating the video,
right?
But it doesn't mean that they're loyal to you.
Yes,
right.
And
very true.
And so viral videos that we found when we measure conversions from creators, and let's say if they have a video that ends up just going very viral, it doesn't mean that there's going to be more clicks. It doesn't mean there's going to be more conversions as a result of it.
Right. Yeah. Very true.
So what was the point where you're like, okay, we gotta pivot a little bit because you're doing a lot of parody, you're fighting the copyright claims left and right.
Yes,
you're winning the copyright claims left and right.
But it's still time consuming and annoying.
But it was definitely the process of your channel at the time. And then what made you shift and what did you do next?
Yeah, I think we kind of just realized, if we keep doing parodies, and the Apple Pen thing really made us realize, you can't beat this. 70, 80 million views. You can't really ask for better than that. And we didn't really feel like we grew a loyal audience. So it's like, okay, that's not working. We tried it for years. Let's start experimenting and pivoting. So we started trying new things.
So you took a pen and a pineapple and you cut it open, right?
But even then, I consider that a parody still. It's like a music video parody. So after that, I think we tried
Craps.
Well, even that was parody. So we had something called comments, raps, and parodies. Crap was the acronym.
So you were making crap.
Yes, we were making crap. Yeah. Well, and actually, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, we were trying to create more of a community, and then so the reason comments, raps, and parodies was that we were using comments from viewers to encourage engagement. So then Chad would take the comments and then turn them into a song and then create that into a parody. So instead of creating original lyrics, we were using our subscribers' comments.
Yeah.
So that was our first way of okay, let's try to engage our comments more, and so our audience more. So then we can kind of create this community and a more of a loyal fan base.
And we had noticed that every time we produced a video that tend to be lower quality. For the most part of our careers, we aimed for super high quality. We were filming in 4K and we were getting steady cams and trying to make it really high production. But then a few times, when we do a much lower production, those would do even better than the high production videos.
So interesting.
And it just made no sense to us. We come from watching television and stuff. So it's if we can make better production, it'll get more views. It was quite the opposite. So crap was kind of we need to...
I still have a hard time with this.
Yeah. So it was the acronym, but it was also the quality's gonna also kind of be crap. It's just gonna be a tripod. It's gonna be cranked out more quickly. It's gonna be it's gonna be more homegrown type.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where the name also.
Right. We were we're self-aware. This is gonna be a crappier version of the parodies that we've been doing.
So is this when were you still doing this in Minnesota or did you move to LA at this time?
This was right when we moved to LA.
Okay, so you're okay, we're gonna get away from parody. We're gonna move to LA. We're gonna get connected.
When we first moved to LA, we still had the mindset of we're going to do parodies, we're going to make it work.
Okay.
Because there were some people at the time really making it work, like Bart Baker and a few others. But so we tried craps. That did okay for a while. I was like, that didn't work out too well. Then we were hanging out with Matthias a lot at the time. He was very influential, and he's great. He's very good at adapting as well. So he actually used to do parodies and stuff as well. And we saw him pivot and try new things. And it's we need to pivot and try new things as well. We were kind of stuck in the we're really good at making parodies. If we just keep going longer, we'll make it work. But eventually we realized.
But you're the one you look at the data. And you're okay, people are not responding like they could. And you see other people's channels and you're thinking more data driven than anything else. And you're okay, what can we do differently?
Yeah. And one of those metrics was how many views you got compared to how many subscribers you got. And we definitely noticed, someone who's building a loyal fan base, they might see a new subscriber every 300 to 400 views. That's like really good. We were getting like one every 2,000 views. It's like, it's just not converting,
Yeah, sure.
So that was definitely a good metric to look at.
And so after crap, did you then like?
That's going to be the title of this podcast. After the crap.
After the crap,
Making crap on YouTube.
Did you start like transitioning to like the Fruit Ninja stuff?
That came a little bit later. We experimented a lot. We did some like YouTuber roasts, which were popular at the time.
I remember that, yeah.
And those did pretty well.
It did.
And we did some unboxings. What else did we do? We did just a lot of random things.
He pretty much says, okay, any vertical on YouTube, let's try it.
Let's try them all, yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh. I created a YouTube channel, and it's beauty. You
did a beauty channel for a very long time.
That's how I started on YouTube when when we moved to LA, I was like, I'm going to try and do my own thing. So I did a beauty lifestyle channel, and so I
remember that.
Yeah, so we were trying a lot of different things.
I took a lot of the tips.
Yeah.
It's very helpful in my personal life.
I gave a lot of
I'm
beer.
not going there.
I gave a lot of beer tips,
I remember that, and you did that a lot on Instagram as well.
Right. Yeah. So then.
Oh, go ahead.
Fruit Ninja, I guess.
Sure. And then, eventually we were just kind of like, we had been trying to go after a slightly older demographic this whole time. Our parodies were definitely more like Saturday Night Live type humor, that demographic.
Yeah.
And we kind of kept noticing our audience and viewers kind of slowly kept getting younger and younger, even though we weren't trying to go younger. So I think we eventually just decided to embrace it. And it was when we decided, let's go for like the 6 to 12 demographic, and it kind of came from like, what was I really into when I was like 12 years old? And thinking back, I loved the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and all that's the Power Rangers, all that stuff. So
I had all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toys.
The action, me too.
I had a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, awesome. So I was like, okay, what can we do with that and take that mindset? What's a video that I would have loved as a 12-year-old? And so I was like, let's buy some ninja weapons and let's test them out in real life. So we bought all the.
First off, you're in the state of California.
Yes.
And you're buying weapons.
Yes.
You know that you're on some list somewhere.
Yes. Very illegal.
This guy likes swords.
Yes. I think nunchucks are still illegal in California.
They are?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
Yes. It's crazy. Yeah.
I had no clue.
Yeah.
Aren't knives more dangerous than nunchucks?
Yes.
When you see someone with nunchucks on the street, like you start laughing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, knives are okay, nunchucks, that's too dangerous. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So we did a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle weapons in real life and did really well. And like, okay, that's something.
Let's order some more.
Let's order some more weapons. Yeah.
I remember like you started releasing a little bit more consistently, and you're like, hey, these are easy to make. We just go outside, we chop a few things, and it's great. And then I started to notice a trend, and I'm one of these guys that I like to see trends and I like to try to figure things out. But I'm like, oh, your titling's similar.
Yes.
Your thumbnails are similar, and you actually started to get suggested a lot more.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you blew up. I mean, you literally started doubling your amount of views. And why was that? Was it was it embracing the audience to give them more what they're wanting, and then including them in the things that you want to do in the future, or what was what clicked?
Yeah, I think it was a combination of many things. It was a combination of like truly understanding the audience that we were probably best at entertaining. In hindsight, the 18 to 24-year-olds, they're probably not big fans of us, like our personality types as far as how we come across on camera and all that. But like that demographic, the way we are on camera and our behavior, it's very likable to that demographic. And the content we were creating, there was just an audience for it, and it wasn't really being done. There was, I think, a hole that needed to be filled. A certain type of content wasn't being done. It was kind of edgy because it had weapons, but it was also very kid-friendly at the same time. And then, in addition to that, we were throwing in some good keywords that, like we started doing video game weapons in real life. Right. So we did Assassin's Creed weapons in real life. So we took all these popular video games that people currently play. It's like, it's kind of cool to see what those weapons are in real life and how they would chop up fruit and chop up sodas and all that stuff.
Did you have any demonetization issues with that content?
Definitely.
Like what, like
We kind of started doing those videos before the whole, what was it called?
The
apocalypse,
The
yeah.
first apocalypse.
Yeah.
Before the dark times of YouTube.
Yes, exactly. The yellow dollar symbol.
Yeah.
But that affected you guys?
It did.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
Wow, that
definitely.
surprises me.
Anything
Yeah.
with weapons.
Yeah, weapons.
It's just like, okay.
But it was
Yeah.
like so family friendly. Like I'd totally be
Yeah.
okay with my kids watching it.
Yeah.
You know.
So we had to end up changing our wording from ninja weapons to ninja,
Ninja
gadgets.
Ooh.
So the word weapons.
The word weapons wasn't
Yeah.
cool with YouTube.
Yeah. So we continue on with the content, but we just said ninja gadgets. And then we also kind of found that, creating like a series almost, because like it's consistent, we're buying five weapons. And then we're chopping fruit and we're testing it out. So the audience know what to expect. So when the new subscribers that come on and subscribe to this content, the next video will be very similar. So it's creating that loyal fan base again.
Right.
And also that they'll sit down and start binge watching your content because
Yeah.
they want to see every video in the series
Right.
from there. And that's
Right.
kind of where the algorithm says, oh, here's
Yeah.
a channel that we like.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Let's go ahead and find more people.
Speaking of series, I want to talk about what you guys are doing now.
Okay.
Because that has just blown my mind. I think this is the first time this has happened on YouTube. And I think
your
it
mind is blown?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's an honor.
No, really, because like it's a very like Stranger Things-esque thing that
Yeah.
you're doing.
Yeah.
And I relate to it as an adult because it reminds me of doing play pretend.
Yeah.
Like where you're acting like you're going and you're fighting the monsters, or you're
Yes.
you're trying to find a mystery or something like that. And you guys literally have this multi-universe like series. Going on right now that I think is like very interesting. Very similar to TV, but much more relatable to childhood.
But-
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes,
The thing,
definitely.
the difference would
It's
be
amazing.
You have the pretend play that's always been around on
Yes.
YouTube, and it's done very well. But the difference is yours is actually linear. You actually have a storyline
Yeah.
Yep.
that goes more than just one video.
And it's going
Yeah.
on for months and months.
It's
been a year
over a year
now.
now. Yeah.
Can you give us kind of
Yeah.
like some additional context of like maybe a quick summary for the viewers of like what this series is?
Sure,
And
yeah.
like how you were inspired to create this and continue to grow it because.
Yeah.
Because it's just one of those things where I haven't been able to watch all the content, but it's just fascinating that it's working in this way.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's no end in sight, and there doesn't need to be.
Yeah, it keeps growing. It's crazy. Yeah. So the series is essentially, V and I we're spy ninjas. She's like a super spy expert. She has all these spy gadgets. I'm the ninja master,
Yeah.
using the ninja weapons that I've learned from all these years of fruit chopping. And so,
I heard Derral audition but didn't make it.
oh yeah.
All I have to say is my character has not been revealed yet.
It's very, very secret. Yeah, keep it on the down low.
Just remember, Project Zorgo. I mean,
Oh, yeah. So yeah, there's this hacker group that's trying to take over YouTube, and they've actually been messing with us and deleting our YouTube videos. And so they're the bad guy, we're the good guys, and it's it's your bad guy versus good guy thing, very much like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus Shredder, or any good Marvel series or what have you. So that's the series, and it's in the last 30 days we've gotten 250 million views.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
just
amazing.
taken off. And what's crazy though is there are news outlets that think that Project Zorgo is actually real.
yeah.
That they actually hacked the account.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. In fact, we've seen like video footage from like CBS and stuff, and then our viewers will go on there and be like, "That's Chad and V. That's the hackers that are messing with Chad and V." It's crazy. It's really funny. Yeah, it's great.
So that aha moment. So once you started to say, okay, let's start planning this out a little bit more. Let's start batch shooting. Let's bring people on to help us, with storyline and so on and so forth. That's quite a big thing to do, especially at that time. You're still living in California, right?
Yep. Yep.
So it's just there's a lot of rules, regulations, where you can shoot, where you can't shoot.
Yes.
Did you struggle with that, like trying to go do a storyline, and yet where's your permit to shoot?
Right.
Video?
That always was a problem in California. Where's your permit? And then we lived in an apartment or a condo, so it was always neighbors were a problem as well. They didn't like us swinging around weapons in the back shared space too much. So yeah, we started looking for our own place, and that's why we ended up coming out to Las Vegas. So yeah, much more land, fewer rules, more
Area
land.
51, Las
Exactly.
Vegas, Project Zorgo. Yeah, it's all comes together.
It's worked out great. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Anything else you want to add about the storyline or kind of how we got there? Or?
No, I guess not.
Awkward pause.
Yeah.
So I think the thing for me, what's interesting is the opportunity for the IP, because there really hasn't been a YouTube channel that's created a really, really massive IP that could spin off other channels that they can all belong in some type of universe.
I guarantee the networks, or like the Disneys and the Nickelodeons, like when they catch on what you're doing, I'm sure they're already watching you, but I'm sure they're going to try to figure out how to replicate it, or try to get you to help them, or even maybe try to buy your IP. I mean, that'd probably be the smartest.
I think, and maybe I'm just naive, but I just think that when you have a lot of money and a big budget, you're missing the essential part of what you need to do, and it's to be able to pivot very quickly and make your content. Like you can't shoot like a whole series, and do it all in 2 months or something like that, and it goes out the rest of the year. You have to you have to see what's going on. You have to gauge the data, and it's like, how do you weave it in? And then what videos perform, and then that needs to be a priority part of this the storyline, right?
Yes, it's definitely week to week, paying attention to what's working, what's not working, and adapting and turning quickly. That's definitely us. We analyze all the analytics very, very carefully.
Yeah, on a weekly basis. Sometimes, what we see is trending or working, we change our storyline actually, and if it doesn't work, we actually just cut it. We're like, we're just going to drop the storyline because it's not working right now, and we just have to move right away.
Wow, that's amazing. I want to hear more about that, like with the storyline and with the writing. Like, what is the writing process?
Well, it's a team of just 5 of us. And I like to brag about that, because it's the team of 5 people, and we're getting 250 million views per month. I think that's pretty awesome.
That's pretty awesome.
A little humble brag there.
Yeah. No, I think we sit out, we huddle, and we plan out like the next 2 weeks. That's how we try to do it. And we're like, okay, so what's happening here? What's Project Zorgo doing this week? And how can Chad and V use their spy ninja skills to fight off the hackers?
With gadgets.
With gadgets, yeah.
How can we add mystery? How can we have like twists and turns and like create intrigue in the storyline? And all that stuff.
But you have more than one channel that you're putting this on, just so that there's context for people. But I do know this. Chad's looking at the data and says, look, if this is a banger video, this one that's going to actually take off, we're not going to upload it to the Chad Wild Clay channel.
Yeah, that's true.
We're going to upload it to V's channel because you make more money on her channel.
That's true. It's very true.
That's amazing.
Well, it's Google Preferred.
Google Preferred.
Yeah.
She's
amazing.
But my channel's not in Google Preferred, unfortunately.
Smart.
You're not the right demographic.
I'm not the right demo, I guess.
Even though the content's the same.
Same content. Yeah, we're both in both videos. It's crazy.
Yeah.
How much inspiration comes from the comments?
A lot
on the videos.
A lot, actually. So every video we upload, we sit there for an hour and we respond to comments, read the comments, and a lot of times someone will go, well, I think this is happening. Everyone gives us their theories. It's really cool to see all the viewers' theories on what's happening. And sometimes it's like, well, that's not actually right, but that's a really good idea. So let's take that and twist it and kind of incorporate that idea. So they're very influential, the comments.
Yeah, it's also very fun just reading the comments, because they are getting their storyline and they're very engaged, and they're coming back continuously to know what's going to happen next. They're invested in Chad and V. They're invested in our channel, so they want to help us to fight off this bad guy, and it's so
awesome.
Amazing that they care, and they're like, I think you should try this and you should try this, or X, Y, and Z. So they're in the adventure with us. They're going on this adventure with us.
Yeah, and they're helping us. And along the lines of helping us, we have a monthly subscription box.
Yeah.
And so they can order this box every month. They get clues from the storyline, so it's all incorporated into the story.
That is amazing. That reminds me of the Christmas story.
Yes, and we have them decoded.
radio program?
We have a decoder wheel.
Oh, that's amazing!
Yes.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
Yep.
so Project Zorgo has a secret language that they put out to all the other hackers. And Chad and V as Spy Ninjas, we cracked that code and we created it into a decoder wheel. And so we are able to give this to our audience so they can solve some of the clues for us and help us. So they're, we're using this decoder wheel on TV and we're like, oh my gosh, this is the key now. And they're solving it with us.
You probably have millions of kids that are playing in the park, decoding.
Yes.
In fact, your guys' problems.
There's a park right down
mysteries.
there, and last time we went there were kids running around. Hackers are after me, hackers! It's so funny.
That is so amazing.
It's insane because when I think about when we were younger, you play pretend out in the playground, and you're playing like, oh, I'm Ariel or a princess or whatever.
That's not allowed on YouTube anymore. Just let you know.
But the kids now are pretending to be Chad and V, and they're fighting off hackers. Yeah. It's insane to me that's
crazy.
That's make believe. That's play pretend now. They're playing us. It's so great, insane.
I've heard quite a bit in the community at YouTube, and there's a lot of creators that are like, oh, these people that are watching, these kids that are watching, think it's real. And that's wrong, just to have that whole concept. Do you think that your audience actually feels like this is actually happening in real life, or?
I think so. Yeah, I think some of the younger ones. I think it's very similar to WWE.
Right.
When I loved, it used to be WWF back in the day.
Oh yeah, I remember.
I loved it. I was a big Hulkamaniac, and I thought it was all real. And then once you get to a certain age, you start to realize. Yeah, but even as an adult. My dad still watches it. He loves it. He knows, obviously. Yeah. But so we try to harness that.
The Undertaker was so evil.
Yes, exactly.
Back in the day,
he was a good bad guy.
And he had the big twins, Earthquake and Earthquake
you are
and Tornado.
Totally
Oh, I was so into it. I was so frustrated as a child because I asked to be a wrestler, and my parents got me into wrestling.
Oh, okay.
And
it wasn't the same.
My first wrestling match, I started doing Hulk Hogan stuff, and they had to stop it.
Yeah, they didn't like that.
Because I didn't want to roll around on the ground.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw punches. And stuff.
Exactly. The body slams and stuff.
Yeah, I want to do a body slam.
Funny. That's so funny.
But no, that's amazing that it's similar to what happens with WWE.
It is similar. It's we do a lot of character development, storylines, so it's very similar to that. And we do try to make it so there's things for the younger audience and for the older audience as well.
How can you expand this? Do you plan on doing that? Do you plan on scaling this up?
Definitely.
Definitely.
And having even more series out there or more perspectives?
Yeah. More channels, more characters. Right now we have 4 channels. Well, actually a 5th one.
Working on the 5th one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's all tied into the storyline. It's all based on different characters, but it's all one universe that we're all in.
So you have the Exposing Project Zorgo. I think that was the fastest growing channel that you got to 1 million subscribers. I think you have 33 videos or somewhere around there.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. But how quick? I know that you probably greenlit it, and then how long did it take before you were getting millions of views and
first video.
The first video.
Millions of views, first video.
Yeah.
And I might get this wrong, but was it kind of you didn't really say, hey, this is a channel that is somebody stumbled upon it, or how did that all work out?
That particular channel, we did push a decent amount with end screens. We do have another channel that I think I was telling you about that we kind of secretly released and didn't tell anybody about, and that got up to 200,000 subscribers with 3 videos.
Wow.
And we didn't tell anybody about it, but people just loved that character in our videos. And so she kind of went off and created her own little channel. And then, it's just people were searching out that character.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Without any promotion,
That's amazing. What do you find the most satisfying about this series or about what you're doing?
I think for me, it's remembering how I felt as a kid watching these types of series like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or WWF or WWE, and just being obsessed with it and just loving the storyline and just knowing how much kids are into it right now for us. To me, that's super rewarding. And creating and crafting the story is just so fun. And just what's going to excite them and get them hooked in,
Yeah.
With your background in software development and stuff like that, and maybe you might know this, but WWE is probably one of the most sophisticated content companies out there in the world. They actually have a dashboard, and it brings in signals that they're able to see how much Social chatter is with specific characters, and if they're under a certain amount, they get fired. It's just like, to stay relevant, you have to be within that metric. So they have their own algorithm for that.
That's cool.
And the cool thing about it is, as the characters come in, they're like, hey, I want to be relevant. Help me learn how to taunt online, or look how to do this or that online.
Yeah.
And they're working with their social team. Do you see you moving to that point where you're starting to gauge other metrics and say, okay, hey, this is how we can develop the character stronger based on these data points?
Definitely, yeah. We're definitely very data driven. So like V was alluding to earlier, we did introduce some new characters recently, some like wise men characters. And
So you introduced me.
yeah, the wise men. And then you got cut.
Oh.
No, yeah, the wise men, yeah, they weren't performing as well as we thought they would, and we were paying very close attention to it. So we were just like, this whole storyline, it's not working out. We're just going to cut it. So we rewrote the story where it would just make sense that it just kind of suddenly ended, and it just took another turn.
Yeah.
And it was just very abrupt. We turned very quickly, like within a week. We tried it for a couple weeks. And it's like, it's not working. Let's just pivot. Where, if it was a Netflix or a television series, you probably would have had the whole season scripted and filmed already, and now you're out of luck.
And that's the difference of why I'm saying that traditional media can't come in and do this, is because they can't think in 1 or 2 episodes.
Right.
They have to think in production blocks, and there's just no way that they can pivot that quick.
Yeah.
There's one show that is pivoting like this on TV, and it's in the UK. Not a similar topic at all. Have you heard of Love Island? So
No.
Love Island is basically a Big
What
Brother.
type of show
it's
you
a
watching?
it is trashy, for sure. But literally, they're looking at the data, and they're looking at it's a reality TV show, unscripted. And they're following what's happening on social media, and they're changing the storyline based on what's happening online.
Cool.
So this is amazing. This is so innovative. But like, what's different here is this is a scripted series, and there's just so much to it. And then V, like, what's the most satisfying to you?
Oh man, working 15 hours a day and
Never taking vacation.
and never taking a vacation. That's the most satisfying. Just hardworking, and like we put in so many hours, and just seeing it success, it's not luck, we really study and we really analyze it. We spend nights, we spend weekends. I don't know if we've ever had a meal in the past 4 years not talking about business or like just how to improve, our content, our lives are just having it pay off. And like having the reward, it's so good, and just like we have a community, like I'm very proud of our content, and then just being so innovative, and like we started this whole hacker series on YouTube, and we're the trendsetters now. We used to be like following trend, and we just feel like we're just always chasing that reward just hanging right in front of you.
Right.
And then when like we work so hard, and finally just like this is it. We're now we're ahead of the trend, and we're starting trends, and it's just kind of satisfying from all aspects, the hardworking, the teamwork, our team's so awesome, and then just being able to, pay for my parents' flight or whatever they needed.
Oh, that's so great.
That's wonderful.
Just like, and I can just say that if my parents ever needed anything, medical bills, they couldn't, I just know that I can take care of them, and really truly pay back.
That's
it's
wonderful.
There's just so many aspects to it.
Leading from the front definitely has the biggest rewards, right? It's
yes.
what gets you remembered. You really can control what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
But it's also the riskiest because basically you've gone from following data and seeing what other people are doing and trying to replicate that to, okay, let's now invent something.
Yes. Yeah.
And
see how
that
it
can
does.
flop harder than anything else.
Yes.
And I think too, it's like looking at the past of seeing how sensitive sometimes a platform can get with certain type of content, and you got to have a plan to diversify. Because like the writing's on the wall. It's like there is no guarantee. You're never perfectly aligned with the platform, and you're going to always need for other types. But your content, where it's serialized, can go live like on an Amazon. It could go live, on different platforms that are not yet announced. too. So it'd be great.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, one question we like to ask before we kind of wrap it up is like, what do you see disrupting the industry now? What are you the most excited about?
Dang, that's a good one. That's a good one. What's disrupting the industry right now? I think we're going to see more competition to YouTube. I guess we already are starting to. It's actually kind of exciting that Facebook is starting to become a viable platform.
Your audience is not on Facebook.
They're not. Ours are not. Yes.
Oh yeah.
But they want to start targeting old people.
Yeah. Actually, we have gotten some messages from parents like, yeah, my husband caught me watching your content at midnight last night. My kids were watching it and I got hooked into it. So.
That's so funny.
But yeah, I think that, and I think even just on YouTube itself, I think serialized content is, I mean, it's proven. It's proven now to like that's a thing now. Like I feel like it was never a thing on YouTube a year ago, and now it's like it's here to stay for a while. It's always going to change. I guess the only thing that's for sure is it's going to just keep changing. You just got to be able to adapt when
you
it
guys
changes
have proven
again.
that for sure, time and time again. Yeah. So, does like the Bandersnatch, Choose Your Own Adventure, does that interest you at
Yes.
all?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
it
yeah.
seems like it's like
I was
right
going
up
to
your
ask that
line.
same
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seems like this would be a perfect fit with all the content you're already creating.
Yes, it's
And
perfect.
I know that there are, YouTube's developing some technology around that so that content
Yeah.
creators are able to do that. So.
They haven't reached out to us yet, so
Okay, so
come on, guys.
Whatever
or
happened?
you have the NDA that's going on.
No, I know. We don't.
Choose Your Own Adventure used to be like a huge thing on YouTube.
With
but it kinda
annotations.
With
It kind
annotations.
of disappeared, right?
Yeah, it did,
When mobile became more prominent.
Yeah.
Yes, because the annotations didn't work on mobile.
And it was really cool too, is they actually had the ability that you could actually switch camera feeds on the same stream, and it was really, really cool. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they pull this off.
Yeah, I mean, I bet you guys could do amazing stuff with Choose Your Own Adventure.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I think it would be fun.
So I have one last question.
Okay.
And it's not as good as yours, but being that, I mean, you guys have this series going on, how do you see brands organically or authentically fitting within that content that want to do collaborations with you?
Yeah.
Because in a way, it seems like there might have to be some tactics that are more similar to traditional content, with product placement.
Yeah.
But is there ways of doing calls to actions or talking about the brands? Like, I mean, how do you guys see yourselves doing that?
Definitely. I think it integrates really well. It depends on what it is, of course, but like we recently did one with Hot Wheels. And we just made it part of our storyline. We ran into some hackers. They had this like mystery box they were carrying around, and we ended up getting the mystery box from them. We opened it up, and it was a bunch of Hot Wheels inside.
Yep.
And then this was actually during one of our storylines where the wise men were still there. One of the wise men challenged us to build like the longest Hot Wheels track ever, and if we were successful in doing that, he would grant us this new ninja gadget. So I feel like it's pretty easy to integrate certain products into our storyline and make it really fun, and the kids will enjoy it. And because we're going from like week to week, we can change our storyline and kind of mix things in pretty easily. We're not locked into like a 6-month story that can't pivot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I see it being really natural too. It's just like, okay, you did something in a Tesla. Of course, Tesla's not going to sponsor this. They're not going to do a product integration, but you can bring those elements in and make your story a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for your time.
Yeah.
We really do appreciate it. And
Seriously, thank you. This is
like
one of the better podcasts.
Yeah, this is like
Nice.
so inspiring because there's so many people out there that says, oh, I tried YouTube. I tried to be successful. They didn't put the hours or the time. Because it just like people don't realize how much hard work. Yeah, there's dumb luck sometimes, and it just happens.
Yep.
And have this fame, but usually the ones that really work at it for as long as you guys have been, just grind and trying to find what works.
Yeah.
Now you have to deal with pressure.
Yep.
It's maintaining that
Maintaining
growth.
it. Yep.
Yes.
And that could also be harder.
Absolutely.
So, but knowing you both and knowing you guys for several years now, I think you guys are doing a fantastic job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you again so much.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you.
thanks for
you.
having us down here.
Yeah.
All right, thank you everyone for watching this podcast. Make sure you subscribe.
See, I can't
and-
do this.
See, what
he's
what
so
do you
good
mean
in front of the
stop
camera.
it? Stop it! Like when we're trying to do the outro. This is why it's never going to work.
I can't have energy and like just look into the camera. I'm just not good at that. Anyways, continue.
Just make sure you subscribe.
And hit the bell symbol.